my daughter is currently using the bathroom. Okay, that's the first thing of what I know now from a year ago, that Layla is got the hang of this potty training thing. Last year we were still struggling to try to get her to poop in the potty, and now she's just doing number two. But she does number two like most grown people do. Like, I don't know, they just don't like having clothes on, so she's completely in the nude, and I'm just trying to be mindful. I got her pajamas right here. I'm just like, I don't want nobody seeing her goodness. So, Layla, are you still using the bathroom? Layla? wait, up! Get out of here. You know what? You know what? Come here. Come here right now. Come to your mother. So I can snatch you right to the camera. Put some clothes on. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Put these clothes on right now. Okay? Because nobody needs to be seeing your goodness, okay? Nobody but your mama, your daddy, and your husband. You understand?
Yes.
Okay. Now put your pants on. You ain't funny. Put your pants on. All right. Okay. Flush the toilet, please. Flush the toilet. Hey, everybody. All right. Hey, flush the toilet. Turn off the bathroom light. I pay electricity.
Okay.
What I know now is that paying the bills all by yourself is whoo-wee. So turn off them lights. That's all I got to say. Turn off the lights and light a candle. I haven't heard that song in a really long time. But just there will be a General Hospital live stream as soon as I get done talking. I'm going to watch today's episode because we got to talk about Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of the show. But I just want to see Wednesday's episode before we get into it. So at 9:30, probably before then, join me over there, and we're going to talk about our soap opera, okay? But hi, everyone. But today marks the anniversary of when I did a live stream. Hey, Deborah, Dorothy, hey, everybody. Oh, no, GH live stream starts at 9:30, but it's coming. We're talking about it tonight. And I'm just going to hide the chat for a little bit so I can keep my thoughts from straying too far. But today marks a year since I did a live stream on my channel in which it was titled, I have to accept that it's over. I put the link down below if anybody wanted to check it out. But me personally, I haven't watched it in months. I have rewatched it since I did it. But I really don't want to right now. No, thank you. More so, I just want to do this video to continue on with my journey and to just keep talking about this for me. So when I do look back at that video, because like I said, I haven't watched it full length, like on the outwards, I'm completely out of that energy. Oh man, my friend Jordan, he tells me all the time, he'd be like, I know you're sick of me saying this, but it's going to take time. And I'm not good with patience. A lot of us are not, because of that instant gratification and how fast things are, thanks to technology these days. But he always tells me that, time, and still even more time is needed. I am not where I was in that live stream. I was in a completely different location, living in a different house, sharing it with my spouse, who was cheating on me, lying to my face about it. And now having come so far and seeing so much since that moment and all that I can be since that particular point in time. Oh man, I'm thinking shoot, I'm the bomb. Yo, I am the bomb, for real. Oh man, I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to start on what I know now, other than to say we all can do whatever we put our minds to. Whatever you choose to do, whatever you choose to give your focus to, whatever you put life to, You can make that happen. I'm sitting in this apartment right now and I was completely scared and terrified about being here in this place, thinking that I couldn't do it, and being told by my spouse that I could not do it without him, that I was just too weak. And I really think that he wanted me to come and beg him. He wanted me to come crawling back and saying, "You right, I couldn't do this." And I'm so glad that I did not succumb to that, and I didn't allow that to be my story and allow that to be my truth. It took some time to shake off that negative energy, and still it's like a residual effect in my mind, which is why in my poetry, and I even have a video in which I did my podcast where I said, don't lose your mind, because your mind is your greatest asset. It's who you are. It's where everything comes from, where creation begins for you in your head. And that's why you have to be careful who you let in it. And I let the wrong person into my mind and into my thoughts to influence me and to bring me down. Now, that's not to say that I didn't say things that came into his mind. Hey, I could have been that person that did those things for him, because, hey, there's a reason why he left, right? He's not on here to say his side of the story and to defend himself. So I don't want to go too hard on that, but I'm also not going to carry his bags. That's something else. That's something that I know now. Let people carry their own bags. Okay, we got enough to deal with on a daily basis. Don't you sit there and shoulder somebody else's burden. You drop it and you move on about your own business. All right, and you take care of you. So that's something that I know now. Another thing that I know now is about narcissistic personality disorder and types of emotional abuse. Now, that's what I got from the live stream that I did a year ago. And I want to thank each and every person who was in the comments and who was giving their support and letting me know, hey, you might want to look this up, because this might shed a lot of light on what you dealt with. One day I do want to do an extensive video on narcissistic personality disorder, just to pay it forward, because there are a lot of resources on YouTube. Like, I've checked out somebody called Harrio Over the Top, the T on NPD and relationships, many others. But those two are the top for me that I've looked into as far as NPD. Now, one of the biggest things about NPD is that, well, I can't diagnose him with that, but we all have narcissistic traits. What stood out for me was the silent treatment. I didn't know the silent treatment was a form of abuse. I know that now. It's a way to kind of trick the victim into feeling as though they're in the wrong, and to the point where they come apologizing and pleading for the person who has victimized them to take them back or what have you. I've learned about blame shifting, gaslighting, and manipulation. I've learned about the devalue stage when you get there. And I didn't realize that for many years I was experiencing the devaluation process. Also, now I understand, and I fully am glad to see all of what has unfolded thus far. I was not crazy. I was not crazy. And I tell people all the time, and I think I said it in the live stream last year. I'm pretty sure I did, where I mentioned what Dave Chappelle said, where folks thought that he was crazy for leaving his shows, talking about how he went to Africa and everything. And he told somebody, it's not that you're crazy, it's just your environment is. It's an unhealthy environment. I was not in a stable environment, and people will gaslight you into thinking that you're crazy. And that's a form of projection. And I feel a lot of what I experienced about my unworthiness and how I was committing self-degradation upon myself and just being like, oh, I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that. I was taking on what someone else was projecting onto me, their insecurities about themselves, and making it my own. And if I was focusing on me being the problem, then I couldn't really see what was going on with them. And something about narcissists is that they don't know how to look at themselves and handle what needs to be worked on. They can't take it. Their insecurities are too great. So, and I just didn't realize all of that at the time. And it's one of those things where, dang, if I knew then what I know now, you know what I mean? So what I will say is that I have enjoyed this process of doing research, not just into NPD, but into relationships in general. I was reflecting to myself earlier before I did the live stream, like what would I say to somebody if, you know, they were, because I think it's important to reflect, because maybe somebody will watch that video one day and they'll think, I wonder if she did another video and what happened, because I'm in that same predicament. Like how did she get through it? Is she okay? Like, is there any follow-up? That's what I do a lot when I watch other videos on YouTube. I'll be like, did you do a follow-up? Like, where are you now? Where did you go? So what I have learned is that I said this in a live stream. Hold on, let me close the door. Or at least crack it. Layla's fine. She's just watching her programming. She kicks me out the living room all the time. But she'll be back when she's ready for some more milk. However, I said this in a live stream. It really takes time to get to know someone. And with my relationship with my spouse, something that I did not do, and this is a way to weed out folks who may have narcissistic personality traits. You need to ask questions. And I mean the right questions that require depth of field, not surface questions, because people with narcissistic personality traits, they're surface dwellers. They don't know how to really dig deep and pull from within their soul. You know what I mean? So something that at the time, because when I met him, I believe I was 22. We were very young when we met. You know what I'm saying? So I did not think to stop and ask, what do you think about marriage? What would a marriage between us look like? What do you see for us in 5 years? How we did not come up with a plan. We didn't have a plan. And of course, that old saying, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. You know what I mean? And a lot of these things that I was her coming up, and I'd just be like, oh, honey, I see it now. I see it now. That's why I always say you reap what you sow, because I witness it every day with my daughter. I reap what I sow into her. If I say a bad word, I'm going to hear it from her eventually. And I'll be like, whoa, where did that come from? That came from me. I sowed that bad word into my daughter. So now I'm even more mindful that she's watching me, that I am really the first, her first role model hero in her life. So I have to conduct myself in a certain manner. So again, yes, you reap what you sow. So I didn't stop to ask these questions. Neither one of us really interviewed one another. We kind of just came together based off of a mutual need. And I fell for him, but I don't really think that he connected with me. Now, when it comes to getting to know somebody, you have to pay attention to who they are and where they come from. And not only were we not equally yoked or a match spiritually, because I believe in God and he doesn't, but the way of our upbringings. Now, with me, I just went off of my mind and incorrectly assumed that we were on the same page as far as it comes to what a marriage should look like. And without even discussing it. Because for me, I grew up in a home. I was adopted to two people who had been married for over 30 years. They were in their 40s, and my mother had already had a first marriage. So by the time she met my father, you know, a lot of the things when they were younger, they kind of like, what is it called? Like, they kind of fine-tuned their relationship by the time me and my brother came along, and we benefited from it greatly. So in those times where I did see my parents, you know, fuss with each other over their relationship, or I heard my mother say, oh, you should go move into your own place and I'll stay here with the kids or something like that, with some time, and it wouldn't even be a full day, they would calm down and just be like, you know what? Yeah, honey, you ready to watch the Andy Griffith show? That was my parents by that point. I mean, you know, they were pretty chill, but they had to go through that process of fine-tuning their relationship and coming to know one another. So with my spouse's background, what I did not pay attention to is that he does not have an example of a marriage. He does not have a successful view of a relationship between a man and a woman, even with his own parents, or even with his with his aunt and the father of her child, or even with his grandmother and his grandfather. All he's seen is, okay, the men leave and the women stay and they take care of the kids. I'm not saying that he's just gonna disappear from Layla's life. I don't believe that. I choose not to believe that, and I'm not going to speak that into existence. But what I mean is that I was expecting him to view relationships the way I did, when there was no examples of him to know how a relationship would work and how it can thrive and be successful. So that's what I mean, where you have to pay attention and really know the person that you're with and have these in-depth conversations. That's what I know now. Ask those questions about a person, where they're coming from. What do they view relationships? What does love mean to them? Because it wasn't until 3 years into our marriage that I learned that he doesn't believe in unconditional love, at least at the time that this conversation took place. And I believe in unconditional love. So that's another reason where we clashed. Now, what I also know now is that he was talking about me like a dog, not only to my face, but behind my back, to the woman and to his mother. And I believe he still does it even today. What I know now is that don't wait for someone to apologize to you. Just know that you deserve better, and forgive yourself and keep it pushing. I was talking to my sister today, and she was telling me, I'm so proud of you. And I wasn't looking for her to say that, but it just came out. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I know that she sees where I've grown, but I was like, I see that my hair has grown a lot longer. If you go back to that live stream, it's kind of just sitting up on top of my head, now sprouting out, like my hair has grown. My weight loss journey, I decided to, all that weight was falling off my body anyway. And I was just like, you know what, I'm going to go join a group, and I'm going to work out, and I'm going to work on myself. And I reap the benefits. Like, I mean, oh my goodness, I can do it. I can do it. Yo, I got, I lost all that weight, 81 pounds. Oh my gosh. What I know now is that, honey, you can lose the weight. You can lose the weight. You can lose it. You can lose the weight. If somebody out there like, I don't know, Sabrina, honey, you can lose the weight. If that's something that you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to lose that you don't need in your life, honey, you can lose it. You can lose it. Just like I lost the relationship and the marriage. You can lose it. Okay? You can lose it and still be fabulous. You can lose it and still rebuild and have a life. I think why it was so hard for me to accept that it was over is because I was struggling to take the loss. I was struggling with the loss factor. And I've said it so many times, it may not be that it's like, oh, I'm in love with him, but there was a time where I was thinking like, there's nobody else I could see myself with. Really, there was. But it was just taking the loss, and then also for him to have moved on so quickly, it hit my ego like different. It hit my ego. I was just like, dang, it must have been me. It must have been me that something was wrong with me. And it's nothing of the sort. It's nothing of the sort. I don't know where I was going with that. However, it's okay to lose. It's okay to lose. You will be fine, because there's so much more to gain. There's this meme that was going around on Facebook and all social media, really, where, you see God is telling this little girl to let go of this little teddy bear. And he's saying, if you trust me, I've got something better for you. And behind his back, he's got this big old bear. And my problem is that I was still holding on to this little bear. I was still holding on and trying to fit where I didn't belong. And it worked at first, it's seemingly, but I was really trying to stay where I didn't belong. And the past year, I know I've done live streams and I've checked in here and there, but there's a lot that you haven't seen, a lot that I haven't shared. But there's been so much progress, but it was happening while my heart was hurting so badly. And I don't know if anyone else listening is getting what I'm saying, but it's like when someone dies. and the world doesn't stop because that person died, and you have to go back to work, and you have to show up at your friend's birthday party or their baby shower, or you have to cook dinner in those quiet moments, and that's when you feel the heartache the loudest. And it's like you have to go about doing your everyday things even though your heart is aching and your expectations for what life would have been like were broken, and you have to find a way to repiece that vision and create a new future for yourself. So that's really what I know now, is that even in that process, keep moving and find whatever it is that is positive, whatever it is that is good, and pursue it with all that you have. If not for prayer, Layla, and poetry, I promise you I would not be sitting here feeling as confident as I am at this moment. If it wasn't for prayer, Layla, and poetry. I I've done so much with my poetry since then, and so much with my creativity. And I don't think that I fully enjoyed it as of yet. Like I told my spouse's mother when I would be at her house, and I told her, I said, yeah, I'm doing all these things and it's great, and people know me now. Before, it was just me and Brandon and Layla. That's all I had. And now I have this really big support system of people behind me that want to see me do good, that speak life to me. And they're like, yo, go Sabrina, go. And I see that I'm flourishing. But it's kind of like when you're in the middle of it and you really can't see. So right now, with all that I have done with my poetry, and I have the pictures on the wall and everything, I still feel like for the most part this year it's been more of a, I don't want to say crutch, but a distraction from my heartache. A positive one, but a distraction. And I keep telling myself, keep pursuing it. Keep pursuing all that is good. Keep praying. Keep being a great mom, and keep pursuing your passion. Okay? Because one day when I fully come away from all of this and I'm able to have that hindsight is 2020 type reflection on this, I'm going to be so happy and so grateful and so proud that in the midst of something that I felt was unbearable, I'm going to look back and be like, oh my goodness, look what I created. And a lot of you said that to me. A lot of you said you're going to look back and see and be so happy at the life that you and Layla have created. You all said that to me in the comments. So thank you, because I really understand it now. Then last year, I was just distraught. I just couldn't see my way out of it at that time. My faith was, I don't even know if I had the faith of a mustard seed, maybe half of a mustard seed. Can you cut a mustard seed in half? I don't know. You probably can. You probably can. Science is a wonderful thing. I'm sure they could find a way to cut a mustard seed in half. But I had the faith of a half of a mustard seed. So I know that day will come where where it's going to be, I look back and I'm just like, I'm so grateful that I pushed through all of it. And this is one of those moments. I was there and here I am. I'm in my own place. It took some time, but I'm managing my bills, and I'm going to get better. It's going to get easier. I thought that I did think that I needed him. There was a time where when he would question me and he'd ask my spouse and he'd say, if something were to happen to me, would you be able to take care of you and Layla? Would you be able to do the hard things that is required to take care of the household even when you don't feel like it? And even though I was inside like, oh my gosh, can I still said yes, I can. And I was just like, but I still do those things even now. Yes, I have your help, but I still get up to the best of my ability and I do these things. But now to really fully be in that spot, and just to be like, this is woman country over here. We got this. With God, we got it. You know what I'm saying? What I do is I pray like it depends on God, but I work as it depends on me. You know what I mean? I pray for strength. I look to God. I ask him to order my footsteps and direct my path. I pray for prosperity. I pray that he will enlarge my territory. And I pray that he will reveal his voice to me so I can find my own. And I do those things, and I get up every single day. There is not a day that goes by that I'm not working. If it's my job, if it's school, and usually it's both. You know what I mean? I'm a school student. I'm in school pursuing a media career. Something I've wanted to do for years, but I was afraid to take that leap, and I'm taking those leaps. So even though it was hard to accept the ending, there are new beginnings. 2 weeks ago in church, they're preaching that message, and I've heard it before, but I needed to hear it again about how God is doing a new thing. And this is a new thing. But that new thing still comes with challenges. I'm not going to say I'm completely over. I still need time. Like I'm not at the point where I want another relationship, and not just because I don't want to dispel any negative energy upon someone and bring them into any baggage that I may have from the past, because that's not fair. I believe we all need time to breathe and to reflect. And I spent so much time in that relationship trying to be what that person thought I should be. And I'm trying to regain and understand who I am now. So trying to bring somebody into my life, into a relationship, and I don't know who I am, how are they going to know me? I'm supposed to tell them and show them who I am. How can I do that if I'm still in confusion? So I really am embracing and enjoying that, hey, I can get up and leave, and I ain't got to ask a man if hey, you coming with me, or I'm going there and it being a problem, or if I want to go out and treat myself to a dinner, or if I'm like, I could go wherever, even with my daughter, we just go. You know what I'm saying? I love that freedom right now. It feels great after, kind of being locked up for 6 years, in a sense. I believe I could have always had that freedom, but I still think that it would have costed me the relationship at some point. Also, when you're going through a relationship, breakup, split up, end of a marriage, cut the family off. Cut them all off. That's how the chick on NPD says it. But she said it mad hard. She was like, cut them all off. Cut them off. I believe it was Deshawn, and I don't know if she's here, but Deshawn said, I told you that they would turn on you. And me, I never felt that they were for me. I always felt that to the family I married into, it's about blood. And I always felt kind of left out. Even when Layla came along, I thought it was like Brandon, Layla, then Sabrina. You know what I mean? But especially in the breakup, family's gonna stand behind family, and that's just how it is. However, I was still thinking that I was still optimistic. I was not honoring the red flags. Now, I want to tell you a very recent story that just took place. Now, I did a live stream in which I expressed that he had a baby with the side chick, because mind you, she's still a side chick. What I know now is that she ain't no better than me. I spent so much time wondering about this female he done ran off to. This female that is undignified. This female that's a hoe. This female that has no problem just getting pregnant and not having a plan and just having any kind of relationship on horrible foundation. Why on earth, even for a moment, I should have never compared myself to someone else. That's where I messed up big time. No one can ever be who you are. You know what I'm saying? No one can ever be who you are. So don't compare yourself to anyone else. She's not my competition. 1 second. My bad. I needed some water. I felt myself about to have a coughing fit. But she was never my competition. The only competition that I have is my old self. And I hope that anyone listening takes that. The only competition that you have, especially if you're coming out of a relationship, is your old self. That's it. Not the person they left you for. None of that. Don't compare. Okay, you'll drive yourself nuts. We are all different, and we have our own uniquenesses about us. But there's nothing that she has that's more than me. If anything, the way that I'm looking at it now, he did all that complaining, talking about how, about taking care of the family that he had. You know what I'm saying? He already had a family, a wife and a child, and then he goes off on the weekends. And the way my friend Jordan put it, and he's not the only one, but it's believed that pretty much he wanted to have the both of us. That Brandon wanted to have the both of us. That he was okay to have me at home cooking and cleaning and stuff and watching Layla. And then on the weekends, he'll go off and do his thing. He said as much to me, and this was about a week before I put it together, that he was messing around with this woman. He told me, and I was so distraught, I was so upset, and I couldn't understand. And I was like, what's happening? I was like, what is going on? Something's wrong, because I'm not getting, there's something wrong here. And he tells me, he says, what if I told you that we could still stay married, but this is just the way it's going to be now? To which I replied, I would think you would care, because that would make me happy, and I think you care about my happiness. So every weekend before he'd leave, he'd ask me, are you going to be okay with me going? And it seems as though he was just trying to see if I would just keep letting this happen. Oh, you could stay here, we could stay married, you could cook and you could clean, but I'm gonna go off and I'm gonna have this little fling with this chick over here, and she gonna be the one I sex down, and you just gonna be the chick who's just gonna clean the house until I'm ready to transition out of this whole situation. And that's pretty much the way it was. So he went from the wife and child that he had to this little fling who already has a child of her own, which goes to show that she doesn't know how to maintain a relationship either. Now, not only that, but he got her pregnant. He got her pregnant. Now, it don't matter when it happened. That was, I didn't talk about how I really felt in the video that I did when I said that I found out, because I was just still like, what? Like, I knew it was going to happen because I had that dream. But I'm just like, you was really that irresponsible with your life? When you give life, that's your life that you're giving. That's your life. You brought a new life into chaos. That was just irresponsible and foolish. And that goes to show neither one of them care about their own lives. You know what I'm saying? So and then you're not even finished with the whole situation that you have already. So when folks would tell me you dodged a bullet, or they'd be like, you're better off without him, now I fully see, yes, I am. And I can't tell you, I don't know why it was him having the baby, because it's not about the baby. It's more like it was like a pile of crap, and instead of a cherry on top, it was like a big old lump of coal, and it just went splat. It was just like, ugh, this really does stink. Ooh, this really does look nasty. Ugh, let me get away from that. Like, what? Like, ew. Like, I don't know. It was just it's not the kid. It's the entire picture of how messy that whole situation is, and how messy it's going to remain, and how glad I am that I am not a part of it. I am not a part of that. Oh my Lord, you left a situation for one that's even more contentious, and that's no better than the one that you left. Yet you complained about what you had. And I was like, like I said, I've been doing a lot of research into relationships, you know what I'm saying? And they say that it's really healthy, especially if you've been in a long-term relationship, to take time rediscovering yourself. That woman was not supposed to be like your main piece. She was supposed to be transitional booty. That's all she was supposed to be. She was supposed to be transitional booty. You're supposed to be out there fucking everything that's not nailed down to the floor. Like, you know, just like being a 28-year-old dude. Like, and now you're again settled down in a family situation that you just left. What sense does that make? You took no time to do self-discovery and really feel out who you are. And that's why I do not envy. Like, before I really look, I'm gonna tell y'all something. There was a time where I even said it to Jordan. I said, there was a moment where I was like, I wish I had whatever Shawanda had that got his attention and made him just be like, oh yeah, I'm leaving Sabrina for this. And Jordan was like, what? He was like, Sabrina, you don't want what she got. You don't want what she got. You dodged a bullet, okay? You were like, stop that. But I had that moment. Because, you know, it's like, what the heck? I was like, what's so weird? It's nothing. It's just something new. It's just different. It's just, hey, it's just what is meant to be in his life. I firmly believe that folks is in your life to teach you a lesson. And sometimes you'll have to repeatedly go through certain lessons if you don't catch it. So for whatever reason, that's what's in his life, to teach him whatever lesson he needs to learn. And I'm just me right now on my own in order to learn whatever lessons I need to learn for myself at this point. So have that lesson. Now, so when I found out about the child, like I said, it's not the baby. The baby is it's just about the whole picture of everything that, you know, has been going on this past year. And it's just like, you know, and so I think after that weekend, like Layla stayed home. And I think I started talking about this in the live stream. Now, Layla stayed home because I was just it was more so like, I've been saying for a long time that I want Layla to come home on weeknights. My thing is that you left, you walked out, you abandoned the household, not me. You put us out, okay? So, and it's not like you left and took Layla with you. Layla was not a thought to you when you did what you did for yourself, because out of Brandon's own mouth was, I'm doing me. He didn't even say, I'm doing me and Layla. It was, I'm doing me, which means he was just getting his little peen stroked. That's what that meant. Yeah, I'm fucking this bitch. I'm doing me. Forget you and Layla. I ain't sitting here trying to work things out proper. So that's how I see it. And if I say that my daughter should come home weeknights, we do every other weekend, and you could pick her up after school, then that's fair. But I was going to compromise at some point. Now, the thing is that he works overnights, at least as far as I know, and that can change. And he's living with his new baby mama. And I love that. I love that, because at least I could say I was the first wife. At least I could say I was his wife. You just the side chick turned baby mama. Okay, honey. No, I don't want to be you. So you living with her now. And when he's at work, then he wants Layla at nights at his house. No. She should come home, because why did Shawanda get to have my kid and you're affording her the privilege of having both of her daughters at home at night with her? So I'm like, no, we're not doing that. So when he filed for the divorce papers, I'm like, all right, then at this point, because of all of this, like, I just need to take a step back, because I feel like I've handled this situation very well. Okay, I didn't turn into no Angela Bassett waiting from Exhale chick. I didn't turn into Jasmine Sullivan, even though he painted me out to be that type of woman. He told his mother, oh, she can, I don't care about the car. I don't care about the apartment. She could burn my clothes. All I care about is Layla. That's what he said. Made it seem like I was that type of chick that would sit there and burn some stuff down. I'm not that kind of woman. I was hurt, but I've got common sense. And I'm not about to do something that's gonna hurt me and my relationship with my child because I'm not there because I done did something foolish. No, we not doing that. So, where am I going with this? So I was like, you know what? I'm taking a step back, and because it, again, it's not about the baby. It's about the deception. It's about the deception and the fact that nobody told me the truth. Now, imagine you going over to a woman's house who you still see as your mother-in-law, who's still talking about you're her daughter-in-law, and you're having Thanksgiving dinner with these people. You know, I even visited them last month. You know, we was at his cousin's house. She has such a great apartment. I love how she decorated her apartment. And no shade to her, because I like her. And, you know, everybody knows that he done got this other woman pregnant. And nobody's saying anything. Now, his mama, we was on the phone. And I think this was shortly after the baby was born, and I didn't realize it. She says to me, when certain things come to the light, I just want you to know that I had your back. And I was like, I don't know what that means. And she was like, you know what that means? You got to stay prayed up and everything like that. And she was like, but you know, you are you know, sitting there talking about you're still the mother of my first grandchild. And that's what tipped me off. And I was like, your first grandchild? She used to say my only one and only grandchild. And I was like, So this is what I know now. When people tell you like that, oh, when certain things come to the light, just know I had your back. They did not have your back. They did not have your back. They did not have your best interest at heart. If you had my back, then you would have told me what the heck was going on behind my back. You would have protected my back. And you would have been like, you know what? She's my daughter-in-law. Y'all are still married. So if you don't tell her, I'm going to tell her. Because that's messed up. But instead, and I'm going to read this to you. I'm going to read all of it because I have her permission to. Like I needed it. Because this junk is retarded. Now, after like I said, I kept Layla home with me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just sitting there like, this man is going to afford this woman the privilege of having her children with her at night, and then tell me that he's trying to take my daughter away from me 2 weeks out of the month. You got me messed up. So I'm like, this is no. I don't care if you got a kid, but you ain't taking mine. You're not taking my daughter. You walked away. So that's why I'm making sure I have an attorney, because I'm not just going to lay down and let that happen. I understand that a compromise has to be reached. But if I can have my child with me at night instead of having her being watched by her father's mistress, absolutely. Why would I sit there and just be like, okay, no, the mistress gets it better, so I'm gonna get the best. You feel what I'm saying? So this is what his mama had, and I didn't even have a conversation with dude. He calls his mama, and what I can't stand about her little deceitful ass is that she want to sit there and not get both sides of the story, but catch herself being in the middle of somebody. Somebody in the middle is going to be neutral. They're not taking sides. They're getting facts from both people and trying to advise y'all the best way they know how. But of course, y'all told me she's going to be on her son's side. There is no middle for her. She's just on his side. She's trying to make sure her baby boy is taken care of, which is why he has not taken that evolutionary step into a man emotionally, because she's his crutch, preventing him from stepping into that position. So look, this is what she said. Can you please let Brandon see Layla like y'all agreed to? Mind you, there is no agreement. I was just being an adult. Please don't use her as a weapon against him. I can't stand when people sit there and try to make it seem like you're using your kid as a weapon. No, I am a weapon in order to protect my daughter. If it comes to it, my daughter is nothing, is no collateral damage, nothing. She's nothing. Did you forget the part where he walked out on us? You know he loves his daughter. He loves himself. Regardless of the fact that he has another, no one is against you. But no one's for me either. I'm still here for you and Layla. Ain't nothing changed by how you acting. Now that line got me. Ain't nothing changed? Bitch, the fuck? What you mean ain't nothing changed? This entire year, my entire life changed. What do you mean ain't nothing changed? The only thing that changed is Sabrina ain't for the BS no more. That's the thing that's changed. I'm still the same. Oh, yes, you are. I'm just starting to see what that means. I personally did nothing to you. That there goes that narcissist. Narcissists don't know how to take accountability. They don't even apologize. They just sit there and be like, I ain't do nothing. That's where he gets it from, his mama. It's not my place to disclose his personal information. So it's not her business to disclose to her daughter-in-law that the man she's married to is having a baby with his mistress, but it's her personal business. But it's his, even though I'm his personal business as his still legal wife, the mother of his child, for her to sit there and think that she got the right to come and tell me something like this. If it's his personal business, then you need to stay out of all of it, ma'am. Don't you contact me. The heck? It's not my place to do. It's not your place to be in my business. So stay out of it. And I even told her what Esme said on General Hospital. Minding your own business is free, but minding mine will cost you your peace. Okay? So then she's like, I urge you to be civil and let the man see his child and let Layla see her dad. What good is it by keeping her from him unless you just want to hurt him or make him feel some type of way? I hate that I'm in the middle of y'all's mess, but here I am. Just please let Brandon see his daughter. First of all, he left. Stop making it my responsibility to make sure that he has a relationship with his child. He's doing his due diligence by going through the court system. Other than that, I don't care. And when I get the court order, absolutely I'm going to follow it, because he did not want to sit here and talk to me like a regular person, like I got common sense. He want to sit there and do things his way. So I'm not stopping him from doing his due diligence. He's going to go and do, absolutely. But until then, bye. I ain't got to deal with y'all. I need a minute. I absolutely need a minute, because none of y'all are trustworthy at all. I don't trust you. I've been betrayed. And when somebody is betrayed, all you want to do is lift up the borders to protect yourself, to protect what is most valuable and precious to you. She is not a weapon. She is my only child. She is the only blood relative I know of on the face of this earth. She's all I have. And y'all sitting there being deceitful and showing my daughter that it is okay to be deceitful to her mother. And that's where I have a problem. Sitting there not being truthful. I don't give a damn if this chick had a baby. She probably gonna have another one. She a hoe. She ain't loyal. And y'all sitting there giving me all this energy. Y'all need to be making sure that that kid is actually his, because I saw a picture and she don't look nothing like a Strickland. So sit there and mind your business over there. All right. So with that message, I didn't respond to her. I did not respond. I was like, you cannot speak wisdom to fools. This whole message was the most tone-deaf text message I've read. But this is the type of woman she is. Instead of asking, okay, this is what he's saying. Is this really true? What's going on? And then not even bold enough to call me. You just gonna sit there and type with your daggone fingers. Pray before you send a text message, ma'am. Pray and ask God how to direct you before you sit there and speak out your butt. So, and yeah, I'm upset. And I'm talking about it. Remember, I got her permission. So, I flat out told Mr. Strickland, I said, I don't trust you. I do not trust you. This whole year, you were, when, like I said, I see all of it now because time has passed and those things have come to light. When he was sitting there lying, talking about this woman was just a friend, I ain't having sex with her, I ain't doing that. The bitch pregnant. She living with you. Okay? She had your baby. You liar. And then not only that, but I didn't even realize for a long time that he was bringing my daughter around this woman, and I had not even met her or seen her face. I had to be the one to pull up to where she was living at the time to even meet this woman and shake her hand and ask her, are you good to my daughter? He didn't even respect me on that level, because I asked him point blank. I said, was Layla around her? I even said, was Layla around anyone she wasn't supposed to be? And he said no. He was lying to my face the entire time. So I think about all of that. And it's like this, like, and I knew it, but it was like, oh no, I gotta pull all the way back, because with his little trifling ass, he's probably over there trying to build a case, because you want to know something? He didn't believe that Sabrina would be able to do it on her own and have her own apartment and have her own car and be a woman and take care of her daughter like she's supposed to. He thought Sabrina was gonna fail and grind and pull and beg him for help, and he was gonna be able to just be like, oh, Layla got a place to live with me. No, Layla's home is with her mother. Okay? You miscalculated. Don't you ever underestimate me again, to your own downfall. So, yeah. Until that time, I don't trust you. My daughter is going nowhere. We're going to handle, and I told him we have nothing more to say. Our attorneys will speak for us, because that's what you want. And that's what I want too. There's no talking to each other clearly. So we're going to let our attorneys handle it. And I feel safest that way, because if I talk to them or whatever, I feel as though they're trying to make me come out of my character in order to say, oh yeah, she's an unfit mother. I wouldn't put it past them that if they could take my daughter from me, they would. Absolutely. That's how much I see it. I'm like, no, y'all stay away from me. I'm gonna wait until my court date. Stay away. And I'm not doing anything illegal, and I'm not doing anything wrong. And it's nothing about trying to punish somebody. It's about making sure that I'm doing me and my daughter, just like Mr. Strickland told me I'm doing myself. He said, I'm doing me, so I'm doing myself and my child. We doing us over here, and us has nothing to do with you. I'm not here to pacify you. I'm not here to make sure that you're doing well. I'm here to make sure Sabrina is doing the best that she possibly can for herself, so that her daughter can go forth in power, knowing that she can do the best for herself too. And that she don't have to settle for no Negro sitting there walking out and cheating on her. No, honey, you pack your bags, you walk on, because you way too valuable for that. And that's what always the energy I want to have for my daughter. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, I have a video up where my car slid off the road, and we were kind of on the side of the road in a little bit of a ditch. It was snowing. The snow was so bad. My car even got stuck in the drive-thru at McDonald's while trying to order chicken nuggets for Layla. I mean, that's how bad it was. So I called my insurance company for a tow, because I have roadside assistance, because that's how I got out. However, Layla was with me, and though I don't trust Mr. Strickland, he's her father. If something is to go down, the legal guardian needs to be contacted. So I called him. I have other people to call, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna call him. And he came. He came out there. We tried pushing the car. We almost had it this one time. Now, we're not talking this whole time and stuff like that. We're keeping it cordial because of our daughter. You know, he hadn't seen her in a while and stuff like that. And, you know, Layla was getting a little impatient in the car, and she's like, Mommy, I want to go home. And I'm like, we're going to go home, baby. We just waiting to get out. And, you know, eventually we get out. So as I'm trying to leave, he comes in, he comes in the window. Now, for those of you, do you remember my live stream that I did on Monday, if you were there? And he was in the comment section. The reason I was confused at first was because that's not his typical profile. That's not his typical profile that he emails me from his Gmail account. He was going off of a different account. So I had to look at that page, and I was like, it sounded like that was him, but this is usually a move that a female makes. Oh, like, that can't really be him in my comment section. So I looked at the page, and I was like, oh, that's him going off on me. So, because he's angry, or at least that's what he told me. Because I asked him, I said, was that really you in my live stream trying to make me look bad, or whatever the heck you were trying to accomplish? And he said, yeah, I was angry. I said, I'm angry about a lot of things. And he's sitting there talking about, when can I see my daughter? I said, well, we have a court date that will establish that. And I told you, no discussions outside of our attorneys at this point. because we had that opportunity to talk as civil grown adults. Because at the end of the day, the courts are going to be out of this. They're going to handle the business. The lawyers are going to get their money. They're going to go home. But we still have to deal with each other for the next 13 plus years. However, when it comes to our daughters. So we're going to have to learn how to talk and communicate with one another. So you going to these lawyers to pay them to do what we're supposed to do anyway is ridiculous. But that's what you wanted. So that's what we're doing. And then he's like, but I came out here and, I helped you with it. You did what you were supposed to do. Sir, you are still legally my husband. Who else am I going to call? Who else? And you are the father of my daughter. Yeah, you did what you were supposed to do. You don't get no brownie points for that. Grow up. And I just told her, I said, we ain't having this discussion in front of Layla. We ain't doing it. And you ain't talk to me about none of this, talking about this is what we wanted. I didn't want none of this. And I was just like, let me just get off this dad. Let me get home. Let me get home. So we get home safe and sound. Thank the Lord. I shout out to State Farm because for real, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. I don't know. I probably would have had to have left that car out there if I didn't have that roadside assistance with State Farm. So I get home and I had blocked his mother the first time because I was like, I'm not going to respond to this fool. So she texts me from a different number. And this is what she wanted to let me know. Brandon told me what happened. It's unacceptable for you to have Layla out with you in these streets and highways just because you don't want her with him. That is not the reason why Layla was with me, because even if we were still doing that every other weekend, it was my weekend. Shut up. Now, I was trying to let you go through your emotions and leave it alone. You were going to let me? You were going to let me? Really? But when you put Layla's health, safety, and welfare in harm's way, that's when it becomes a problem. Really? Okay. All this because you don't want Brandon to see his child because he has another and you're mad. I'm mad because he has another child? Did I tell you that? Did I tell him that? Did I ever say that? When are you going to stop assuming stuff and just ask me yourself what I feel? Don't tell me how I feel. I'm not mad. Why should, again, it is not about the child. Anybody can have a baby. A baby don't keep nobody together. And why would I be mad? I'm glad that it ain't me. I'm glad that it ain't me. Do you realize that your son is going to have 2 child support orders by the time he's 35, if not sooner? That relationship is not on a solid foundation, and that poor baby is going to have a broken home just like her big sister. There's nothing to be mad about. I'm glad as hell that it ain't me. I'm so glad, because being the mother of his kid ain't no picnic. The heck it got to be mad for? I'm glad it ain't me. Girl, but whatever you want to believe, go ahead. You need to start sending Layla to daycare and speech therapy again. Look at her telling me what I need to do for my daughter. She knows she would sit there and chop somebody's ass up if they came around here wagging their finger in her face about her kids. And you need to start letting Layla spend time with her father again, as previously agreed. We have no legally binding agreement. We are married, and in the state of Ohio, if she's with me, it's absolutely good. And again, he left. If spending time with his daughter was oh so important, he would have made sure that those things were in place before he stuck his penis in another woman and had another child in which he gonna have to end up begging to see her too. And he ain't got to beg. Like I said, the man is going to court. That's what he chose to do instead of having a conversation with her mother. But we're gonna continue. Nothing changed except the fact that he has a new child. Again, everything has changed. That's not the only change. Why are you so short-sighted like your child? Now I see where he gets it from. You really think it's just about a baby? Again, I'm glad it ain't me. These are all of your emotions taking over, making you make these irrational decisions. Y'all are getting divorced, and that's facts. You right. That's the only thing you said. That's truth. If you want to claim abandonment, then do that. I will, and I have, because it is, by law. The definition states he abandoned me and Layla. This ain't, hey, it's the truth, honey. But don't keep punishing Layla and Brandon's relationship. I did that? Honey, you need to talk. Honey, you need to shut the hell up. You don't even give your son sound advice by the way you talking to me. That's what you're telling your son. You're not telling him what he needs to hear, which is you did this to yourself. Now you deal with it. You can say what you want about me on YouTube, and I will. I will, honey. But if you keep up this behavior, I will turn you into Child Protective Services. You know, before I let you know how I responded, because this time I chose to respond. Last year, and I think I made a live stream in which I let y'all know that this happened. Layla was in the custody of Child Protective Services because while in the care of her father, when I was away from the house, she went out the front door and was missing for hours. Somebody found her in the middle of the street. The police came and got her. They couldn't find where she lived. So Child Protective Services had her. Now, he calls me frantic, crying. And I told him to call the police. Then we get to the police station. He's crying. And the first thing I do is give him a hug and reassure him. And then even after, when we got our daughter back, I told him that I was proud of him for how he handled it because it was a stressful situation. And now I know that when he took her to Dayton, he took her to that woman after what happened to our child. Instead of allowing my daughter to stay home and we stay home, he took my child with him to that other heifer after I supported him. And then the first thing his mama want to say out his mouth is, oh, you know he loves her. He would never do anything intentional to put Layla in harm's way. You know he wouldn't. And I said, yeah, I know that. But now, nearly a year later, you want to sit there because snow hit and my car slid. You want to sit there and threaten me with Child Protective Services, bitch? Go ahead. Go ahead, honey. Go ahead and do it. Let them know Sabrina Faith White will be expecting them. Hey, baby. You want to say hi? What you need? What you need?
Milk.
Milk? I knew you'd be back for some milk. 1 second. I'm going to tell y'all how I replied to that crap. Come on, baby.
Okay. Let's go get some milk.
All right. I'm going to do this and then I'm going to wrap it up and then I'm going to go watch General Hospital and come back and we're going to talk about General Hospital and move on with our lives. Okay? But I replied to that because this time I was like, all right, that's enough. That's enough. But let me say something. This may not be the last time she tried me. But honey, I got enough passion, stamina, and talent to verbally slay your ass into the grave. There is so much that I haven't said, and I've conducted myself as a woman because that's who I am. I was very strong throughout all of this. And that mess right there, that was the most disgusting message I ever seen in my life. Instead of you being a gracious or a kind woman, a woman of God, miss, I'm on the side of right and what the Lord would want, with your dumb ass in there talking about, oh, we need to stay prayed up. Instead of saying, Brandon told me what happened. Did y'all make it home okay? Are y'all okay? That must have been a stressful situation, y'all sitting out there on the road because of the daggone snow. No, you want to sit there and use it as an opportunity to try to pressure me into doing whatever your son wants to have done because your son is too much of a boy to handle the grown man mess he done made. And I said it, and I mean it, okay? Because he is just like that little character Tyrese in Baby Boy. That's exactly who he is. Still sucking from his mama titty and she let him. And that's why he won't ever really truly step into manhood. Because unfortunately, like I said, it's really important to know somebody's background. And I can't tell you that, like, if somebody were to say, who is his male role model? Who is a man in his life? And it's so unfortunate for him. That's not his fault. But there's no man that I can say in Brandon's life that is a influence. Like, you know how some people watch The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and they'd be like, oh, Uncle Phil was like a father to me. You know what I mean? There's nobody in his life that I could say was like a father to him. That if he were to go to that man, or if the man was to hear what he was going through, that he could be like, yo, Brandon, this ain't right. You need to make your moves better than that, son. There's no man that he can turn to that can understand what he's feeling and what he's dealing with as a man. And that's where I pray for him at. I do pray for Brandon. Don't make no mistake. I may be angry about certain things, but I understand that he has hurts. He has pain. He didn't just walk out because nothing was done to him. I am my own person. And I know that I've said things and I've acted certain ways that have hurt him. He has hurts. But as a man, who does he turn to? There is no other man for him to turn to and be like, yo, I understand what you're going through. I can help you. I can coach you. I can't tell you that there's a male influence that he can turn to and help him through this as a man and guide him as a man. The only emotional support he has is from his mother, and she is messy. She cannot be what he needs at this age in his life. And I pray every single day. Me and Layla, we get down on our knees and she sits on my shoulders as I pray. And we pray for her father. We pray for his house and what's going on over there, because she goes to his house. And no matter what, I want to see him succeed, because if he's good, then my daughter is good. Child support or not, I will pray for that man, because he needs the right people in his life that'll be able to help him and guide him as a man. Okay, I can't even do that. I can't even speak to what he's going through. I can only speak to what I'm dealing with as a woman. And maybe as a man, that's just too much for him to deal with. And again, he's never seen solid examples of men and women being in relationships and saying, we're going to make it. We are committed. We're not running away. We're staying, and we're going to see this through. So at the same time, I have to have mercy and compassion and understanding that this man has wounds. He has hurts. He has scars. He needs healing. And in that situation that he's in with that woman and this child, and going through a divorce with me and trying to get child visitation with Layla, that has to be stressful as hell. But that is not my responsibility to make it better for him. He's going to have to go through his lessons just like me. But I pray for him. And I pray that solid people, solid men believing in God will come into his life. Somebody that he respects enough to stop and be like, you know what you're saying here, I'm hearing what you're saying. I pray for him no matter what. Because at the end of the day, he is still my husband until the divorce papers are signed. So this is what I said to his mother. And honey, let me tell you something. You come at me again, I am not that weak woman from a year ago. Yeah, I was weak. I was operating from a place of weakness. But let me tell you something. I am not that woman, especially when it comes to my child. Don't you ever sit there and try to finger wag me with my baby. I don't care that Brandon told you what happened. I handled the situation properly by contacting my insurance company and another person just in case I had to leave the car there. My car could have gotten stuck anytime, anywhere. Layla not going to daycare has nothing to do with Brandon, and I told him that. And that is the truth. And they'll see in a little bit, but it's none of their business because they don't live in my house. And she's still in speech therapy. So what the fuck are you talking about? Brandon having a baby is not my concern, but the child I have with him is. The only people mad are you and the grown boy you were unable to raise into a man. Go ahead and smear my name to CPS. They'll come through and find that Layla's safe and well cared for by a mother who gave her life for her. Stop seeking to manipulate me in order to make Brandon comfortable within a situation he created. It took time. And it took time, because even just a few months ago, I still had my marriage certificate on the wall. I've taken it down since then, but it took time. It took time. But I'm good with the fact that we're getting divorced. Your son is an embarrassment, and I'm better off that he chose to leave me. What I will no longer tolerate is you. You're messy as fuck. Brandon's a grown boy who got himself where he is today. You have no business in the middle of us. I married him. I'm divorcing him. I'm raising a child with him. Not you, Bianca. Do not text me with your foolishness again. And thanks for checking out my YouTube channel. Every view means more money in my pocket to take care of me and your grandchild. I'll be blocking this number, by the way, as well as praying for your deliverance, because you are clearly not a woman of God. And that's how I left it. And you can try me again, ma'am, whenever you like. Whenever you like. Because my issue with you is that you sat there and said the most crazy ass crap. When certain things come to the light, just know I had your back. Why did you even invite me over to Thanksgiving? So y'all can sit there and eat and laugh at me over the fact, oh, she has no idea that he's having a baby on her. She's still over here talking about how she don't want a divorce and everything, and she's stupid. I can only imagine how badly y'all dragged me behind my fucking back. But you had my back? And even if you were to say, oh, we weren't doing, how would I know that? Y'all are deceitful as hell, and that's my issue. No one had the balls to tell me the truth. I had to stumble on that myself, and it's okay. It came out the way it needed to, because I see it all now clearly. And what I know now is Sabrina Faith White is strong. She can get through it all as long as she leans not to her own understanding, but that she looks to her God in heaven. Look, last year, I didn't know how I was going to get through it. I did not. I was hurting so badly. Every weekend, this man would look at me and say, was I okay with him going to fuck Shywanda Preston without me knowing who this bitch was? Are you okay with me going to fuck Shywanda Preston? Are you good that I'm not staying here and fucking you instead and being invested in sending you flowers, sending this woman flowers, and then had the nerve to get mad at me because I wanted to run and leave to Florida because I knew something was bad, something was wrong? I'm a woman who perseveres. And I'm so thankful because I'm going to raise my daughter in the best way I know how. And the best way to do that is not to be in that toxic situation. What I know now is that you have to lose to gain. Don't stay where you don't belong. T.D. Jakes said it best. If people can walk away from you, let them walk. Because whatever is for me, I don't need him to get there. And he was only slowing me down to get there. It's okay that he is where he is. We're all going to grow up and go on. But a lot of the things that I tolerated once before, never again. I know my worth and I see my value and how wonderful of a woman I am and how much of a fool of a man he was to walk away from the fabulousness that is Sabrina Faith White. And it is truly his loss. When people would say, oh, it's his loss, I would be like, is it really? Is it really? Maybe it's my, no, it's his loss. Absolutely it is. And the thing is that it needed to happen for both of us because like I said, there are things that needs to be healed in both of us and we couldn't help to do that for each other. I pray for him, but I pray for myself even more. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that it doesn't hurt the way that it did last year when I sat in that living room of our home after that fight that we had over who was going to wash Layla after she pooped on herself. And he's recording me trying to make me look crazy to anybody who'd watch that video. Also, I have to accept responsibility because the marriage failing, of course, wasn't all his fault. I have to work on myself. I've been doing a lot of reflecting And I'm going to keep doing the work. It's hard work, but it's well worth it. I just want to be whole within myself with God, and I want to raise a healthy child as much as I possibly can. I'm not going to be perfect, but Layla, I love my daughter. I love her. Again, I was adopted, and my mother is dead, and my father, he's off in Florida, but we're not really close. My brother is dead, and I don't know of any blood relatives I have. So me keeping Layla to myself right now, it's more of a mama bear protective thing because she is my lineage. She is my seed. She is such a valuable person to who I am. And I will protect that and guard that with my life. So I take it as the utmost form of disrespect when you minimize her as being a weapon. She is not a weapon. She is precious and valuable. How dare you? You know nothing about me if you think I would ever use her as some kind of leverage or to be hurtful towards another person. I did everything that I could to make sure that he was in his daughter's life. He walked away. Don't you dare put that on me. And I am not ashamed that I stayed as long as I could because I saw the value in my family. I saw the value in my spouse enough to want to stay and fight to make it work. But it's all okay because it's what needed to happen. And all that I've experienced in this last year, like I said, right now, I can't fully appreciate the growth right now. But in a few years from now, like you all have said, I'm going to look back, be like, wow, look how far I've come. And I believe he and I will be in a better place once we get to that normalcy of our lives and, the divorce is out the way and, Layla gets older and she becomes even more of the focus because we have a teenager on our hands. You know what I mean? And he has another kid to raise. I don't want one right now. That's why I said I'm glad it's not me. I want to be to myself. I'm so glad Layla's getting older and more independent because it's just like I just want to explore myself. And I want that, and I'm glad that I get to have that one-on-one time to get to know Layla. I want to get to know Layla and who she is. She's developing such a personality. She's so smart, and she's so loving. You know what I mean? And I want to make sure I'm paying attention to her. And I'm nurturing her to the best of my ability. But I understand that I have to do that with her father. And I'm going to keep praying about that co-parenting relationship because I even told him this. And I think I'll end this video on that. There's one other thing that I want to read to you all, and then I'm going to end this live stream. I sent him one last email. I've sent a lot of emails. But there's one last email that I sent him, and it'll be the last one I'll ever send. And this was before I found out about the child that he has now. So now that I know that he has another kid, I felt kind of lame. I was like, oh my gosh, like I had no idea. I'm like, oh. But I guess it still doesn't matter. I think it's still relevant. So I'm gonna read this to you, and then I'm gonna end it. This isn't meant to be an aggressive email, only sharing thoughts that I have. Remain open and think on it. Have you ever thought about what's best for Layla? Rhetorical question. When speaking with an attorney today, she assured me that everything's going to work out fine because she can see that I only want what's best for our child. I used to believe that you would do right by both Layla and I no matter what. That you loved us so much that you give your life to protect us. That's why I used to call you Papa Bear, because I viewed you as strong once. That as a man, husband, and father, you were our protector and provider. However, last year, the character of who you are within your heart was on full display. Now I understand all the times where Layla would flip out and squirm in your arms until you gave her to me. Children can sense energy, and your vibrations were low. Layla is attracted to high vibes, which is why she and I are very close at this time in her life. Energy cannot be destroyed but transferred. So plenty of light within Layla was given to her by me through an exchange of energy and learned behavior. What does your behaviors teach our daughter? Do you agree with my assessment? Probably not. You need to work on yourself and increase the vibration of your energy. What you put out, you are going to get back, especially with our daughter. And the same is true of me too. For the last 3 years that I've known you, you've fed nothing but verbal garbage and negativity into my mind and spirit. It showed outwardly that my spirit was being fed that negativity. Do you realize that every time you called me weak, every time you called me helpless, each time you spoke against me being able to do something or calling me a fuck up, that you were speaking about yourself? Once we became man and wife, we became of one body, mind, and spirit. So every attack on me was an attack on yourself. Only a mentally ill person would attack themselves. Are you mentally ill? I don't believe you love yourself properly. I know I didn't, and it showed. I allowed you to walk all over me. I'm glad for the experience, though, because I have the strength now that if anyone tries, I'll passionately, verbally correct them. When I look back at photos of me from a year ago, my God, no wonder you weren't or aren't attracted to me. Like, damn, I was feeling so low about myself, yet at the same time, you was tripping for real. Even when I'd leave the house with a head wrap looking like I rolled out of bed, I was fine as hell. When you left me this last time, it's like it snapped me out of the depression I was in for years since my brother's death. Even my body went through a detox with me losing more weight than I intended. I was forced to focus on being myself instead of trying to get you to like me. To stop trying to earn your love and reclaim my own. Most important of all, I reconnected with God. I pray you learn how to love yourself. The man that I know now is a coward, immature, deceitful, greedy, and selfish. In 5 years, our daughter will be turning 10. Who will you be to yourself in 5 years? Our daughter to me? Because married or not, we're a part of each other's lives for the great purpose of raising Layla. You and Layla are my family. Family members beef with each other at times. Right now, you and I got beef between us. At some point, when you're done despising me, we have to work on strengthening our bond and communication as parents. In 5 years, Layla will be on the verge of becoming a teenager. Wow. Showing her that we are united, that we learn to trust each other, respect one another will greatly influence our daughter in a positive way. Because as of now, none of those things are true. Actually, those qualities are there. It's just blocked by the beef, I think. I don't know. I don't know if you've read this far, but there's no need to reply to this email. Instead, think on what I said about energy, making sure you invest in your self-love and who you want to see in the mirror in 5 years. All of our decisions now is for then. Also, do you know what your purpose is? What are you passionate about? Why don't I know that about you after all this time? No matter what, I love you, speaking nothing but prosperity over you. We were meant to be married and to have a young one together. Although I know you to be an uncaring asshole presently, I believe in your future. Lastly, do you know that Shy Wanda is your wife now? I could be the last one to realize and accept this. In the spiritual sense, of course, which is what matters most. It's ironic how you traded me and Layla for Shy and her daughter. I'm offended by that, to be honest. That a child who isn't yours has you as her live-in dad instead of my daughter. That's why I asked if you thought about Layla, because she deserves what you give in another man's legacy. The same goes for me versus Shy. You don't want to provide support, financial or otherwise, to your wife, the mother of your legacy, the person who is owed that and deserves that first over any woman. Instead, you insult and ridicule me for needing your help. Though on the flip side, you have welcomed a strange woman with another man's legacy into your home and provided her with your support. It's kind of like how your father betrayed you and your mother. But okay, she's your wife now. Anyway, I'm glad you won't read all of this. I think I just wrote a whole chapter, and you think I'm crazy anyway. Protect yourself. Layla depends on us getting our shit together. Good night. And that's how I left it. So, let me go. Thank you all for watching this video. It went on a lot longer than I expected. But I've grown a lot. And I'm smiling. I feel so much lighter. I have a different picture on my wall other than that other one that I was sitting in front of last year. I'm doing it. I'm succeeding. I prosper. And it feels good. It feels so good. And thank you to each and every person who has watched my videos, supported me throughout this journey, even before the journey started. Thank you. Thank you for your advice. Thank you for understanding and being patient with me and still being here. I will see you all very soon for a GH live stream because, honey, we got to talk about this. Okay? I got a lot of things to say about the whole Carly, Nina. Oh, Lord. I'll be back. Love you all so much. Bye.